Study Abroad, and I'm here today talking with Tiffany Harrison. She's a 2010 graduate from California State University, and she studied PR, and that's what she's doing now. She's a PR associate at MSR Communications and working a lot of different jobs in the Bay Area because it's expensive, I'm assuming, yeah. And but you may know her if you're watching as a cool, hip, popular personality in the Study Abroad Twitter sphere. She tweets as TTM Harrison, so you can find her online there. But you can also check out her blog, What Would Jane Do? www.janedo, right? .com.
Yeah, it's right? Like okay. www.janedo. Yeah.
www.janedo.com, and she writes about all things Jane Austen. Basically, in her opinion, Jane Austen applies to every single element of life, which I find entertaining. Yes. And she has an infatuation with tea, which I will forgive because I'm a coffee lover. And she just writes generally about being young and fun and, you know, trying to make a career as a new emerging professional. So, welcome, Tiffany.
Thank you.
So, the main reason I'm wanting to talk to you is that you are a recent grad, but you also studied abroad. And so I'm really interested in hearing what your perspective is on the study abroad experience. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But because everybody's got a story, I want to hear yours. So what's your study abroad story? How did you get this global obsession?
Okay, it was kind of a combination of factors, one of which feeling that I had been born in the wrong time period and wanting to time travel. So once I got started reading H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, and then I was 12, and I really became involved with like the Celtic festivals in my local neighborhood, and I just loved going to them, and I was just fascinated by the whole culture in general, just, you know, the music, the people, like the history that was involved with the country itself. And that's when I was like, okay, I am a little bit obsessed with this country. And then there was one incident in particular. Actually, I wrote an article about it. I decided that I had to get to Scotland one way or another, and I was caught by my parents standing on my back deck trying to make myself time travel overseas. It wasn't necessarily effective, but it's a story that my mother continues to embarrass me with to this day.
Now the entire web can access that story.
Now they all know about it. It's okay. I wrote an article, so as you know, sooner or later people are going to find out. But, you know, obviously that wasn't an effective way to start traveling. And once I got older and, you know, I realized that wasn't going to really work for me, I became aware of study abroad. And ever since, like, I still loved the culture and I really wanted to travel, like, just, you know, the history classes and all the different classes learning about different cultures. I'm like, you know, this is what I want to go and see firsthand. And so when I started looking for colleges, I was like, I want to get involved in a college that's going to have, like, a diverse like foreign language programs and study abroad programs, and that's where I really got hooked on it. And I was still determined to get to Scotland one way or another, just because I had to see it firsthand. So that's what really like jump started me for study abroad, was like, you know, wanting to see it firsthand and wanting just to travel.
Okay. So where did you study specifically in Scotland? What was the program?
I was in Stirling. I went through USAC, and I was there for a year. Well, like it was 9 months, and then I stayed a little bit longer just to stay as much as I could.
Yeah.
And it was like north of Edinburgh and Glasgow. It's called the Heart of Scotland, what they call it, gateway to the Highlands, and it's beautiful, like rich in history country. And it was amazing. Loved it there.
So, did you have any like Prince William sightings? Or are you too young
No, see, that's the University of St. Andrews. Yeah, all the girls want to go to St. Andrews.
Okay. Yeah, well, didn't their enrollments dramatically increase for study abroad?
Oh, yeah.
He announced that?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When I was 12 and, like, pursuing Scotland actively, I was, like, sending mass emails to the University of St. Andrews going, you need to take me there.
When you were 12?
But, you know, you grow out of that.
Wait,
I told you it started
you
early.
You email when you were 12?
Yeah, but see, you know, ask what my email address was and why it got passed off as spam.
What was it?
Scottish Mist.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's hot. That's hot.
Not exactly professional, but, you know, you're 12.
You didn't know. Okay. Well, okay, let's talk a little bit about, so you studied abroad, and a lot of times, you know, as advisors in the study abroad field, you know, we know intrinsically that there's this great value to study abroad, but a lot of times it's hard to get hard and fast sort of, if you study abroad, you will make more money, or if you study abroad, you will get better jobs, whatever the data might be. So can you talk a little bit about, if at all, your study abroad experience helped you land a job in the PR industry specifically, since that's your area of interest?
Definitely. I mean, ever when I came back and I was actively pursuing, trying to get a job coming up on graduation, every interview I had, like the experience came up, especially with public relations. You want to know like what's going on, like with current events, especially on a global scale, because everything is so interconnected, especially with digital communication, the way we have it, making everything so instantaneous. So just being able to talk about, knowing what was going on in a certain country or just current events, and then just having that independent attitude as far as like being able to go out and take risks, because especially with public relations, which is my field, you have to be prepared for surprises and communication crises that are going to arise.
Yeah.
So just being able to to talk about the experiences that you had, whether it's like missing a flight, a connecting flight to a place that you had to be, and just being how you dealt with those experiences and being able to vocalize them as far as like transferable job skills. That really helped me in a lot of my interviews and led to a lot of the job opportunities that became presentable.
How was that different than maybe some of your friends or peers who also studied PR but didn't study abroad? Do you think they struggled more, or do you
I guess it depends on like, other experiences that they might have had. But I mean, I think it really showcased being able to step outside of your comfort zone and knowing that you could take risks, because I think that's an important part of the field, and like being able to think on your feet really fast.
Right.
I'm sure there are like, other students in my field had maybe similar experiences, but it's a whole lot different when you are, going outside of your own home country and, leaving everything familiar behind and not knowing what you might expect from the whole experience, because, the reality of it is you have all these expectations when you might go, and it's going to be completely different than what you expect, and how you react to it, I think, is really telling. So that helped a lot.
Well, I'm hoping that there are some study abroad advisors out there who share this video with some students, because I think that even though I think I have some great advice, I think a lot of students are like, "You're old, though." You don't
I know. It's like, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, but it's, you're young and fun and recent grad. So, from the PR, sort of getting a job in the PR world and being a PR professional, what advice do you have for current students studying PR or communications who want to land a job? And who might be considering studying abroad or getting ready to study abroad? What advice specifically for them would you have?
I would really, really push to study like either public relations or journalism while you are abroad. That was one of the things that I wasn't able to do while I was studying abroad. Like my journalism department specifically wasn't really keen on me studying journalism while I was over there, because it was so different, is like a lot of the response that I got.
That's
and I'm like,
a common thing.
Isn't that's the point, And like, I think that's going to really give you that global perspective and allow you to be a better communicator, because that's a lot of what public relations is, or just journalism in general, is being able to communicate with people. So I would actively really push to study your major while you're over there. And while I didn't, I had a great experience being able to explore other options that were available to me. But another piece of advice I would say is like look into classes or programs that offer like international relations, like economics, like something that's really going to expand your knowledge of like current events and everything that's going on, because when you can speak on that information, that's really going to make you stand out from the crowd.
Okay, great. That's awesome. So that sort of relates to my next question, but so other than wishing you'd taken at least one class in PR or communications, any other regrets? If you could do it all over again, you would have changed something?
No regrets, because I mean, obviously there were mistakes, that you make, but those are the things that you learn from, like those experiences, like it would not be as enriching as a process if you didn't have those mistakes. Yeah. So no regrets. I do wish sometimes that I may have gone to a country where I would have had to learn a different language. Some people might say, like, being in Scotland, it's a language all on its own, especially like the thicker the accent.
Yeah.
But I think challenging myself more, like by having had to learn a language, is one thing I think I may have missed out on. But no regrets. That's the things that you learn from,
Okay. Any logistical things though, like mistakes where you're like, if I could do it over again, I would have booked a different flight, or I would have done this differently on the weekends, or anything like that?
Okay, yeah. One thing, I brought way too much. Like when I was that person standing at the airport, like with the whole line behind me, and like just throwing things out of my luggage at my dad because it was too heavy. And I'm like, I don't need this. So like it really, packing wise, like don't bring as much as you think you need to, because there's so much over there that's going to help you. Another thing, also take advantage of all like the weekend trips, especially in the United Kingdom. It's so easy just to like, go around to all the different historical sites. So do more of that. Like I was on a really tight budget while I was there, so I really had to pick and choose like the places that I went to. But I mean, being aware of that early on is really going to help you as far as like, going to visit those locations.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we've got 3 minutes. So I
Yes.
want to make sure I get to some of this other stuff. So tell us a little bit about your blog and what you want people to get out of it. Why'd you start it?
Well, at heart, I'm a writer. Like I've loved reading and writing. And once I graduated, I mean, those job opportunities weren't exactly there for public relations. And so I'm like, I just want to keep writing. And I wanted a way to get my name out there just to really like, be able to market and brand myself for, future job opportunities. And what would Jane do? Let me tie together a lot of the things that I am passionate about, including Jane Austen, tea, and study abroad. And I'm like, how can I bring these together in a way that people are going to want to listen to what I have to say? Because I'm not necessarily an expert on all things. For most part, I just hope people, like, whether you're a current student, like about to graduate, or you're trying to make your way in the working world like I am, it's just you can learn from my experiences because the people that I talk to, I think I have a lot of similar experiences that they're going through. Mm-hmm. So at the very least, I mean, I hope it's at least entertaining. if you're not getting any advice.
I love that you do like these reviews of tea, which I find fascinating.
Yes,
so.
I'm like, this lets me do my reviews of tea. So I'm, you might be a coffee fan, but tea is good for you. It's delicious.
When I lived in China, like their coffee there, no offense to China, love you China, but it just wasn't that great. And so I just stopped drinking coffee altogether, and I drank tea all the time, black, not black tea, but
and it didn't convert you.
Well, it did for about a year, and then I don't know. I think one of my coworkers, wherever I was working at the time, started like doing coffee runs with me, so I got back on it. So my question to you is, who had an infatuation for tea first, you or Lady Gaga?
I think it goes back further than that because while I do love Lady Gaga, I mean, hello, Jane Austen is the original modern independent woman. And so without her, like, loving tea, neither myself or Lady Gaga would be inspired. I think that, like, subconsciously. So I like it. I have to put a shout out for Jane there.
Okay. So if you could study abroad all over again,
yes,
clean slate, and everything what you know now, where would you go?
Tough question. Definitely somewhere like maybe somewhere like in Spain, or I've always wanted to explore South America a little bit more. Just go somewhere where the culture is just a lot different than what I'm used to. Because while I did love Scotland and like I would never change any experience that I had there, somewhere that's really gonna like throw you like really like push you into a different culture, like where living with a host family or learning a new language, I think was one of the things that I really wish I would have done. Mm-hmm. So maybe Spain. Also, like, because Scotland is beautiful and I love the cold weather, but I would definitely go somewhere warm next time. Yeah. So I love the cold weather, but, I could have gotten a little bit more sun while I was there.
There you go. Okay, so I have a lightning round question for you. So,
ready?
Just so everyone who's watching knows, Tiffany is really interested in working in the study abroad field, and so I'd love to. Oh no, the duck is quacking. Time is up.
No.
Okay, we're gonna cheat a little.
Cheat.
Okay. So a lightning round question. So if a study abroad company or study abroad office is watching right now, and they need to know 3 things about you that would make you a great employee, what are 3 words that would that be to describe you?
I'm passionate about the industry. I'm a natural leader, and I'm a great communicator, I would say.
Awesome. I love it. Okay, great. Everyone, this is Tiffany Harrison. You can check her out on Twitter at ttmharrison and at her blog, What Would Jane Do? www.janedo.com. Thank you so much, Tiffany. It was great to meet you.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Bye.